Hey everybody, this is Derek, and welcome back to another episode of Ludia Presents, where we explore the latest and greatest features as it relates to Dynamics 365, the Power Platform, and artificial intelligence. In this episode, we're going to get started with Copilot Studio. Now, as many of you may know, Copilot Studio originally was called Power Virtual Agents, and it allowed you to create very powerful chatbots. As we've evolved into other generative AI solutions and the day and age of Copilot, it has been rebranded and features have been updated to make it more conducive to be able to build powerful copilots that will help you across your entire organization. So let's go ahead and get started creating copilots using Copilot Studio. When you first launch the web application, you'll be taken to the home screen. The home screen is going to show you all of the different copilots that you currently have created, as well as providing you the ability to do things like create plugins. These are elements that could be used inside a copilot later on. You can create prompts. These are used to provide context to your bot or to your copilot, so it makes it easier for the large language model or the model to understand what it is that you're asking it to do. You can also create models. These models allow you the ability to really infuse different artificial intelligent elements into what it is that you're trying to do. Now, when you're creating a copilot, it's pretty straightforward. You're going to click on Copilot, and then you'll go ahead and click on New Copilot. Really, we don't need to do a whole lot at this point in time. We'll talk more about the generative AI capabilities in just a couple of seconds. So realistically, as long as you're going in and providing a name and identifying what specific language you want your copilot to speak, you're ready to go. From here, you can go ahead and hit create, and it'll take a few minutes for it to go ahead and populate. Once it's populated, you'll have your initial configuration settings. Then you can start kind of working with items from there. But it does take probably about 2 to 5 minutes before every single feature associated with it is going to be created. So let's take a look at some of the different elements. So over here, you'll see your overview screen. This is just going to provide you some different basics about your copilot. It'll tell you little bits about like the name of it, how many topics it has, as well as some additional information related to when it was last published. You have the ability to show and hide your test screen for your copilots. By simply clicking on the individual elements, you'll be able to show and hide your test screen as needed. Topics are really the cornerstone of what you can do with Copilot. In a future video, we'll actually delve much deeper into topics, but think about topics as really your conversation. So when you're going out and talking to somebody, you might ask them a question. The Copilot is going to go to their topic related to that question. So if you're asking me a question like, Derek, how are you doing? I'm going to go to my internal topic on how I'm doing, and I'm going to tell you how I'm doing. A lot of your effective copilots will use a combination of topics or pre-guided scenarios along with generative AI to provide that natural conversational experience that you'll see people work with. Entities are used for natural language understanding, particularly as it relates to topics. So a lot of times what you'll see with entities is these are ways to be able to capture information within the context of what somebody might be working with. So if I want to know what city somebody lives in, I can use an entity that's kind of pre-formatted and utilized to understand the name of a city or something to that nature. Depending upon your specific needs as an organization, you can actually add your own entities. Maybe you're a sporting goods company and you wanted to create your own entities for the different types of sports that you support. You'd be able to utilize those. You also have the ability in here to publish it, but probably the big one that I want to showcase to you is the settings area. The settings area is where eventually you'll have the ability to go out and decide what channels you want to make this particular copilot available on. This is also where you'll have the ability to bring in features such as generative AI. And generative AI is probably one of the biggest things that people are really looking at as they start to utilize artificial intelligence. So one of the nice things with Copilot Studio is you have the ability to point your copilot to different public-facing sites. So for example, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and here and type in learn.microsoft.com. So learn.microsoft.com is a repository for a lot of different Microsoft documentation, training elements, items to that nature. So what's nice about this is I can go ahead and I can just simply enter in the name of the site that I want to use, and I'll be able to use that to leverage generative AI sites. You can actually use up to 4 different generative AI sites when you're actually working through this. The other option that you have the ability to do is to upload content. So if you have text-based files or items that you want to be able to utilize, you can upload those directly. Now, these will actually then be stored in Dataverse, so you'll always have access to them as you're moving forward. Now, a couple key things you can see here. You do want to limit each file to up to 3 megabytes. As you work through more advanced types of situations, there are ways that you can actually point to different models in different areas where documents might be stored to actually allow you to broaden that search. So there are extensions and items that can be used to facilitate that. And then the other thing that you want to keep in mind is in this particular scenario, you really want to try to limit it to text files. If there's images and stuff in there, that's fine. They won't necessarily be processed, but you'll have that information readily available. Now you can come in here, kind of decide what specific option you want to be able to work with. It'll then upload and add that as a source that you can use within Copilot Studio. Once you save your changes, now you're ready to go ahead and kind of start facilitating working with this. Now, like I said, this is going to be the first video in a series of videos, so we'll get into some topics and stuff a little bit later on, but let's kind of show you what we've gotten just based upon the little bit that we've done from here. So in this particular scenario, I might say, what is the AutoSum feature in Excel? From here, I can now go ahead and ask it further information. As I ask it additional information, it understands that we're asking about it as it relates to the AutoSum feature in Excel. So it's going to provide us with additional information about those items. This is a great way that you can utilize generative AI to provide that conversational experience. Now, in addition to this, I also uploaded a document about how to build a home. Now, as I'm going into this, it's realizing that we're going out across kind of a different area. So now it's going to search different documentation. So this will then go out and grab information directly from that how to build a home scenario. And it will also offer you references and citations to each one of those individual elements that were associated with that. Using generative AI is a very easy way that you can get up and get started with a chat-based or generative AI Copilot assistant very, very quick. From here, there are many different ways that you can extend that functionality and push that information out. Once you're done, you go ahead and hit publish. And once you publish your Copilot, you will now be able to go ahead and start utilizing that Copilot across different channels. Now, these channels could be things like publishing them to specific Copilots like Microsoft 365 Copilot. These could be going ahead and publishing them to internal channels such as Microsoft Teams, but it provides you with a variety of different ways that you could start consuming this information across the board. I hope you enjoyed this Getting Started with Copilot Studio video. In the next video, we'll expand on that and we'll actually start building out individual elements of a Copilot, such as working with topics. So for all of us here at Ludia, this is Derik saying thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take care and have a good one.